Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight on episode 28, season 6 of the Standoff with Brad and Richie here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live on Wednesdays on Facebook and YouTube throughout the season. Evening, Richie. Disappointing weekend for us Warriors fans with our side losing in fourth place after failing to the Eels. But the Raiders grabbed the minor premiership a week early and what was otherwise an enjoyable round. How are you and what did you think of the round?
I'd be better if we were still sitting in the top four, but not. I don't think it was totally unexpected. It was something I had that feeling in my stomach a couple of weeks ago that I thought we were trending the wrong way, but still hopeful, mate. It's not completely downcast. We win this week and a couple of results go away, we still might get there, and even if we don't. Top 8, we would never have picked that at the start of the year.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to... It's been a funny year because we predicted at the beginning of the year where we thought teams would face. We didn't talk about where we thought the teams not making the 8 would be, but in my preseason preview, I said 10th at best for the Warriors if things went their way. So the fact that they are sitting where they are, as disappointing as it is because we see the potential, but I think I said to you and Ruin Hammer in my review this week as well, I feel like the Warriors have been kind of running on fumes since Luke Metcalf got injured, kind of riding the momentum. But still a chance. See Jacko and Simon are here. Congrats, Simon, on your team getting the minor premiership. And Paul's right. They did get me a little bit of money with that, so I'm happy. But yeah, we may as well get into the usual things we talk about at the start. So while we're here live on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m, you can also catch our show at your convenience on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we're going to cover everything you need to know in the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, review of the round 26 matches. We'll then take a look at the ladder, our fantasy teams for the second to last time. And then the tipping comp. We'll then stop and answer questions from you guys as well as questions we're prepared for each other. And then we'll preview round 27 and make our picks. So send us comments and questions throughout the show, and may as well jump straight into top stories, mate.
Yep.
I suppose before that, I should say shout out to This Warriors Life. I caught up with them on Friday before the game. It was good to catch up with Will again and meet Brad for the first time. But yeah. Good to catch up with them, and I see Jacko, I might move that news topic to the top of the list since he's mentioned it. He said he's not in a great mood with Crosby likely leaving. We'll go to page 2 of my news where it was. So after all the noise about Tom Ali moving to the Panthers, which seems to be almost certain now, apparently he's told the rest of the squad that he's on the move. The rumors have started that they are looking at Toby Crosby as well. So we still are Cleary, Matt, and they're just taking everybody. I don't want to see him go, but I guess it goes down to how much you're willing to risk to keep. But this is potentially the third Panther or young player the Panthers have tried to steal because they tried to get Kalis, who we managed to get back. Sounds like they're getting Tom, and they might get Toby as well. I don't want to see Toby go. I think he's got a lot of potential, but there must be plans higher up, mate. But what do you reckon? Is he frozen or am I frozen, Paul?
He's frozen.
Okay, that's good. It's not me. But
so if you live in a proper part of the country that didn't have lots of wind, he'd be okay.
Yeah. So we just get to look at his confused face, which is the default. So yeah, and
off the bench.
Yeah, so you just made the comment on there about the Panthers with the great development pathways. Yeah, I think the pathways must be running a bit thin because they're moving over to what's been a very successful New South Wales Cup campaign for the New Zealand Warriors and trying to pick as many players as they can.
Yeah, this is something that I really not through the window because I remember probably about a year or so ago, you guys sort of them talking about that, about how good the pathways were and how that players leaving wasn't such a problem because they could just bring the next one off the conveyor belt. But clearly not. Yeah, as you say, looking around at other people's development pathways at the moment.
Yeah, I think they were, I think, punished by their own success, where I think a lot of teams were looking in their pathways and grabbing young kids too. So like what they're doing to us, people were doing, going, they've got great pathways, let's get them before they become a first grader and will ask for more money. Because with the Toby Crosby scenario, you could offer him very little and maybe be able to get him, as opposed to waiting till he's played first grade and asking for like an extra 100, 200K. But yeah, like Jagger said, he's a rare talent. I thought he'd only leave to go back to Union when he could be an All Black in 5 or so years, but now he's off to the Panthers. He'll return to dominate our middles for sure. I think if he is going, you play the long card, because they're going to want Jet Cleary back. So you just do a swap eventually when Jet Cleary is ready to be picked. Just say, give us Toby back. But yeah.
Where does he play?
He's a prop, so he's one of the most talented players. He was a number 8 in rugby union.
No, it's just where Jack said in the middles. I thought if he was a midfielder, I was going to say, hey, look, let's be honest. One area that the Warriors could do with some help in is midfield, because that's where they keep getting injuries. They've been struggling.
That's right.
Sort of fill that gap. So
no, in league talk, we talk about middles as front rowers because they're in the middle of the field. We try to be very basic. So yeah, that one, it seems to be, it was firming up as a more confirmed as the day went on today, but we'll probably have a more definite answer next week. So we'll probably touch on it then. But this one, you probably could help me with, Paul. I made it the top story because I thought it would have the biggest discussion, but Peter V'landys and Andrew Abdo were speaking during the week about potentially looking into a wildcard weekend where lower position sides will play off for a place in the finals once the comp expands to have Perth and PNG. I'm not a fan of it, but we haven't seen exactly what they're thinking of. I assume they are thinking of making it. I would want to keep it as an 8-game final series or 8-team finals, as opposed to making it 10. And I don't know if you have like a top 6 and then the next bottom 4 play off for the final 2 spots. I'm assuming that's what it is, but I'm not sure. What do you think about wildcard weekends and things like that?
Sounds too much.
Look, you're keeping more people interested for longer, I think is kind of the idea. And so I can see where they're coming from for that, because we'll be up to 19 teams by that point. So what you could do is like give the top 4 a week off or something, or maybe the top 6 of a week off, and then 7, 8, 9, and 10 play off against each other to see who makes it into that thing. Then you're not getting. I mean, that's what at the moment 9 and 10. 8, 9, 10, it's all pretty much the same, right? There's not that much between them at the end of the day. So you're not bringing in you're not saying, right, you can have a terrible season and get in. So to me, that would be, I think that's, if that's what they're thinking, I could understand it. But I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to get more teams or more fans interested for longer.
Yeah, and it's popular in American football or American sports in general. I know my team, the last time they won the Super Bowl, they won it as a wild card. So they didn't outright win their division, but they got the wild card spot and managed to do upsets along the way. But yeah, we'll see. I can't give a definitive opinion on it until I know exactly what their plan is. But I'm very old school with the finals anyway. I think it should just be 1 versus 8, like 2 versus 7.
I like it the way it is now.
You see, I don't like the whole winning and getting a second, or losing and getting a second chance. I think it should just be like quarterfinals, semifinals, final, but then you don't get that extra week. So,
what you've
saying that though, Paul?
Well, you've got to give it to the hat to NRL is they've got a complicated final series that people have bought into. Generally, complicated things, people just go, it's crap. So they've done a very good job that way of educating the fans and to actually understand it.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Next bit, we'll go into some coach talk, mate. So Des Hasler has spoken. He has said he doesn't regret taking the Titans job and that he is not retiring from coaching and will be looking for opportunities. I'm not sure what opportunities will be there for him. He said he's moving back to Sydney for it. I don't know what opportunities will be there in Sydney for him, but I guess it's always good to have an experienced coach like that just sitting there waiting for an opportunity when a coach gets fired, like seems to happen every year.
Yeah. I don't know, mate. If the evidence of this last couple of seasons is anything to go by, yeah, like you say, I don't know what opportunities will jump out at him. It's been pretty tough going.
And I don't see him taking a step down and becoming an assistant either. I feel like that's not something he'd be interested in, but we'll see what happens.
Maybe step in as a New South Wales Cup head coach. That's kind of like the reserve squad.
I don't know if clubs would want him to ruin their development. But speaking of the coaches, though, the Knights have officially confirmed after our show, naturally, that they will part ways with Adam O'Brien at the end of the season. O'Brien actually had a pretty good conference to announce it. I thought he spoke very well. But he has also said that he'll be looking for an assistant coach role as he wants to take a break from being the driver. And I think him, like many coaches that have tried the top job and then it hasn't gone well, but have been really good assistants. I think sometimes being an assistant is the best of your ability, and there's no shame in that. So maybe that he can go back to winning premierships as an assistant again.
Oh yeah, the head coaching job of an NRL team is pretty cutthroat, mate. I imagine the last couple seasons probably would have weighed pretty heavily on poor Adam. And yeah, I must say I've been death riding him this year for a prediction to get right. But yeah,
I was just trying to keep everyone at a job, mate.
Yeah, I thought his press conference was really good as well. Quite gracious and accepting of everything.
Yeah, and then the Cowboys have apparently got rid of two of their assistant coaches and moved one into a backroom role as they look to give Todd Payton a new support team for 2026. So they've addressed the issues. It was probably a lot cheaper to keep Payton than cutting him loose. But they're going to work on everything they can to get the Cowboys back up. That maybe Desi can go be an assistant there, man. Now the Cowboys have Payton, Desi, and Adam O'Brien all together as a coaching trio, mate.
Most maligned coaching trio of all time.
Yeah. And speaking of the Cowboys, they are all Smith from the Roosters, a rumored 3-year deal being put in front of him. Still, it'd be interesting to see where he goes. The Knights and the Cowboys are the biggest front runners right now for him. But apparently in the negotiations with the Knights have told him they don't see him as a half. So I don't know if that will affect his decision-making, if he wants to be a half or if he wants to be moved. They were looking at like a hooker or lock role for him.
Mate,
where I think he's shown that he's a decent half.
I would not be trusting that Newcastle Knights organisation with anything to do with handling halves, because the past couple of years have been diabolical. They have not kept the same halves pairing, and they've just rotated 3 or 4 players like a merry-go-round for the past couple of years, and I reckon that's affected them on field. I think he'd be a great half for them if you chucked them in there and gave him time. Even the Cowboys, him
and Dylan Brown at the Knights would do really good, I think.
100%, mate. That's just delusional talk, saying you don't see him as a half when you're rotating Cogger and Hastings and whoever else under the sun.
Yeah, because I was trying to think this. You'd have what? Phoenix Crossland as your hooker, Brown and Smith as your halves, Ponga as your fullback. That's not a bad spine.
Mate, that sounds about as good as they're going to get.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens there. And Jack also mentioned the Cowboys are cutting 7 players apparently. Yeah, I think they're going to do everything they can to kind of wipe off what happened this year and start fresh. I think Peyton should throw a little deal out to Bunty Afoa, mate. Get him one more gig in the NRL. But yeah, we'll see what happens when all that comes clear. And then the last bit about coaches, Titans are apparently getting rid of all the assistant coaches at the end of the year to let Josh Hannay start his campaign with a clean slate. So feel that makes obvious sense. You're not going to keep the old assistants unless he wanted to keep them. Generally, the head coaches have their own group of coaches they're comfortable with that they bring in with them. But yeah, I guess Titans are trying to do all the they need to do as much as they can. Next bit of news, we had 2 retirements announced. Elliot Whitehead and Remus Smith both announced their retirements. Former NRL players currently playing in Jacko's retirement league. So they're done at the end of the year. So I don't know if they've got media or coaching jobs in their future or not, but good luck for them. I see. Jacko just said we'll move that one up too now. You're stealing all my news before I get to say it. So he said Going just got Player of the Year in New South Wales Cup. Surely a club like the Knights or Cows, Dragons will pick him up to fill a gap in first grade while they rebuild. Yeah, so Kalani Going from the Warriors, New South Wales Cup captain, he got named the New South Wales Cup Player of the Year for the actual competition, not just the Warriors. I wouldn't be surprised if someone picks him up. He's just got so many talented players in front of him in first grade at the moment at the Warriors, which is a good problem for the Warriors to have. He said he's after my cushy job. It's harder than it looks, man, I tell you.
It doesn't pay a lot.
Richie does nothing. I'm sure he'll get picked up. I don't know what his deal is at the moment with the Warriors. Because I think he is. I don't even think he's in the top 30. No idea.
I'm Googling it.
So am I.
Great TV, this.
He's 28 years old.
Yes, I didn't think he was the youngest. That might be the only thing going against him.
Yeah, but he'd be a hell of a player for someone to grab if they wanted him. But yeah, I don't think he's in the for the Warriors. So I think with the way it is, you can basically be approached whenever if you're not in the top 30. Going into American Sport Talk again, it's kind of like the injured, the practice squad. If you can sign a deal to be in a practice squad, but any club could come and grab you if they wanted. And our website doesn't want to work, so I assume that's what it is. But yeah, he'd be a great pickup for anyone. Speaking of, it's weird to say this after the Toby Crosby thing, but the Warriors are rumored to have joined the Eels and Cowboys in chasing Rabbitoh David Moale from next year. So letting Toby go and bringing in Moale. I guess Moale's experienced. But yeah, I guess, yeah, it just feels strange to me. You're letting Tom Arley, Toby Crosby go and bringing in Moale. I don't know. I feel like you could get them for cheaper.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you reckon?
Well, I dropped out during the Toby Crosby thing. Gutted about that, by the way. Especially him being from my neck of the woods, the Waited Upper, and then moving to Upper Hutt. He's what a talent. It'd be a shame. Davey Moale's fine. And I think he'd go just fine, but I'd rather my preference would be to retain a boom up and comer like Crosby, but hey, who am I?
Yeah. I'd just be signing all the props, so I can't really give an opinion either. We'll go to the Raiders now. After winning the minor premiership, Ricky Stewart's confirmed he's going to be resting the players this week. And after there's no win or loss, he can't go anywhere from number one. So that's where it makes sense to me. Panthers could be fourth place right now if they listened to me last week.
Yeah, well, possibly, but yeah, it makes sense.
I feel like it makes sense, and they had that such a long run before they got their first bye in that, so they had a lot of battered and bruised guys, and I think 3 of the people they dropped are actually injured as well. So, it makes sense there. And then we'll end it with the Broncos stuff, Matt. There was a bit of Broncos stuff happening, and so I said, "Damn, I should have known that before I kept them this week." Yeah, but yeah, Reece Walsh, Matt. Toilet drama is all I gave you in the notes.
Oh, it's all I needed.
To afterwards. I can see Paul like scrunching his head in the background, and he's Googling, I assume now. But he posted on social media drinking out of a toilet in an attempt at comedy, I'll say. The Broncos released a statement, which their PR company, I guess, never thought that would happen. The Brisbane Broncos are aware of a video posted by Reece Walsh on a social media platform. The club can clarify that Walsh is currently renovating his home and has installed a brand new toilet and a new bathroom, which remains unused. The video represents a poor attempt at humor posted privately by Walsh. No one should take this video seriously or act upon the advice. It was basically, for you, if you don't know Paul, he was basically saying to get himself fit and ready for the NRL, he's got to drink toilet water.
That's quite funny. When you said toilet stuff, I immediately jumped to Aaron Smith at airports and thought, you know what? Yeah. What's he doing, the silly boy? He's gone back to Australia because that's where his girl is, and then he's gone and done this.
His social media is much like his on-field game, isn't it? Very rocks and diamonds. I feel like he's just got to stay off the Instagram. He's just every couple of months there's some kind of Instagram drama with this guy.
Yeah, I forgot to add it to this. Apparently, the Broncos are looking and getting, they're calling it a carer for him to help with his things like this, because they want to basically the Broncos want to build him as the face of their organization. The NRL desperately want to make him the face of the NRL because he's got all the exciting stuff that you like to see on TV, but he keeps doing stupid shit off the field, which is his problem. So
good looking boy, right? But I mean, having a bit of a personality and a bit this look compared to what NRL players get up to around white stuff and pets. This is really, really low grade, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's not the worst. I think people are reacting more because it's the timing. They've just made top 4. They need a big win to stay top 4, and they got him doing this, and Jemma Sabaski, who got stood down this week for breaking one of the drinking rules.
Breaking a drinking rule.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You know, it depends what you're drinking, Paul. If you drink toilet water, it's fine. But yeah, there's nothing in it. Like Paul just said, there's a lot worse that these bloody players have done. So I don't think it was as funny as he thought it was. It's not funny. But yeah, there's a lot worse. I think the Shabasky one, getting on the piss before the day before training, is probably more of an issue, especially a player like him. Reece Walsh has a bit more leeway with what he can and can't do because it's Reece Walsh. Let's be honest. Shabasky got given a lifeline to come back to the Broncos and could just as easily not have an NRL position anymore if they decided they didn't want him. So he's the one that's really got to be a bit more on his best behavior. But It's great after you solidify a top 4 spot, mate. They're falling apart.
Yeah. He just saw a toilet and thought he was Scott Drinkwater for a minute, and
Yeah.
got in there.
Yeah, I think Ben Singsam was on there and said Reese was taking the piss, just ask Carney. Yeah, he could have
Yeah.
he didn't do a Google that one, Paul. Todd Carney. We won't talk about the bubbler. Yeah. But yeah, that was all I really had. I didn't think there's much in it. It's interesting time for Madge doesn't seem like the guy that likes a bit of a laugh. So we'll see what happens with all that. But he hasn't dropped Walsh for drinking water. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll go on to signings. There weren't too many. Felice Kafusi extended with the Dolphins until the end of 2027. I think this is just them trying to get their money's worth out of him due to how much time he's been suspended, Matt. So they just added it. Makali Ravalawa has signed 3-year deal to join the Castleford Tigers. So Jacko said, "No, please, you're not desperate. We're always desperate for content, Jacko."
Mate, you underestimate how desperate we are.
Yeah. He's joined Castleford Tigers. Think it'll be a good deal for him. You'll have fun up there. The Rabbits have extended Cody Walker for another year, which we kind of all saw coming. I think they're going to do year by years until they decide enough's enough. Yes, they'll see if he can get through 26 without too many injuries. And then the last one's for NRLW, mate. The Warriors NRLW team has signed Bronco Gail Broughton for next year.
Yeah, good one.
Which is a good sign.
Now we just need to retain Maliepo, and those two can pair up in the halves. That'd be deadly. Yeah,
Maliepo is off contract at the end of the season too, so I'm hoping they can convince her to stick around. She seems to be enjoying herself, so hopefully that helps out. But we'll go on to injuries. There weren't too many big ones, so I just grabbed a couple. We got Jacob Carraz. He sprained his foot. He's out for 4 to 5 weeks. Jacob said, "Yeah, Broughton's a great signing, fantastic signing.
She's awesome."
But yeah, 4 to 5 weeks for Jacob Carraz. So his season could be done, mate. By the time he's ready to come back, the Bulldogs could be gone from the tournament.
I mean, could be done. There's only 5 weeks left of the season, including the grand final.
They could make the grand final. He could be back for grand final, Paul.
He could go see some Fijian witch doctor.
Yeah. Then Kula from Seagulls, he did an MCL. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks, which is devastating for him. That's his season done, but great for the Warriors who have to play him this week.
Are you sure? You sure? You positive? Because I mean, they've only got 1 week left. 4 to 6 weeks.
They might not make. They might not make. I already told you the logistics of them making the top 8 is
they have to beat us by something ridiculous. So, yeah,
they have to overturn 80 points differential between them and the Roosters.
Yep. It's not about how many weeks I've got left. Don't worry. It's not about points.
They have to put 60 on us and hope that the Roosters lose by 50 to have a chance.
We're not this desperate for content. Keep it moving, boys. Keep it moving.
Right.
You underestimate how desperate we are.
Yeah, I can do this all day, Paul. Sean Bloor from the Storm, he fractured his larynx. They haven't said how long it'll be, but he's definitely missed this week. The old larynx is always an issue with NRL players when you listen to them when they retire.
I mean, that doesn't sound good, and neither does he probably now as well.
No, he's going to sound like Darren Lockyer for the rest of his life. Wade Egan from the Warriors, all they've said is hip. I thought it might have been a head knock when I was at the game, but apparently he's hurt his hip. He is missing this week. And then Jarrell Skelton failed an HIA for the Tigers, 11-day stand down. Anything you want to add to those injuries, Matt?
No, I'm good.
All right, naughty boys. So Top Sipley from the Seagulls, he has a grade 2 dangerous contact. He had a 3 to 4 match ban, 3 if he pleaded guilty, 4 if he fought it. It's his last game in the NRL ever, so it's no surprise that they tried to fight it. It was unsuccessful, so he's got a 4-match ban. I don't know how that works. I think it's just going to be a 1-match ban for him.
Just gets written off, surely. Yeah,
just gets written off at the end of the year. So yeah, not the way you want to end your NRL career, but it is what it is. And I have it in here. I didn't add it on yours. Nelson Asofa Solomona got his third in a row fine for something, as per Jackson Ford. Once you get your third, you end up getting 3-week ban. Nelson just got another fine. He didn't get a ban, so I don't get how it works.
He's the king of fines, that guy.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how that works, especially with his track record compared to Ford. But Ford's enjoying the time off, I'm sure. So that was it for Naughty Boys, only the one. So we'll go to NRLW. We had the Raiders continuing. Raiders have turned around after beating the Warriors, mate. They beat the Tigers 17-16.
We played them into form.
Yeah. Dragons did defeat the Warriors 26-18. Roosters defeated the Cowboys 30-0. Sharks defeated the Knights 19-18. Broncos defeated the Bulldogs 44-0. And Titans defeated the Eels 26-10. I didn't see much of the Warriors game because it was clashing with the top grades. But did you watch any of it?
Yeah, I watched all of it. I thought the girls did pretty well to sort of hang in there. I think they were just struggling with pace of Teak and Berry. It looked like a couple of, not too dissimilar to the men's game, I guess, just a bit of pace and not quite coping with a couple of line breaks. But like Jacko said, wasn't their best work, but still to hang in there and keep it relatively close that's all right. I think the girls have some good signs with more experience come next year. Bring in Gail Broughton. Hopefully they retain most of the team, and I think they'll be better for it next year.
Yeah, it is an experience building mission this year, and you look. I can't remember her name right now. Not the winger I like, the other winger that got the record
Hayden.
for most tries.
Yeah.
So she was hoping to make a debut, and she's been doing really well. So players like that will, find another level hopefully next year. So it is what it is. But this week we have the first place Roosters playing the 10th place Raiders, 8th place Dragons playing the 4th place Cowboys, 11th place Bulldogs playing the 3rd place Sharks, 7th place Warriors, final home game, I believe, the one at Hamilton, playing the 2nd place Broncos. So that's a tough ask for them trying to get into that top 6. 5th place Knights versus 6th place Titans, and the 9th place Eels versus the 12th place Tigers. So I think this is the last round. I'm not 100%. So it's make or break. They need, they can't. I'm just looking at the ladder Paul's given us. Even a win will not see them make the top 6. So that's disappointing for us. But doing a hell of a lot better than the other new team, which was the Doggies. So.
Sorry to go back to Gail Broughton. I think I interviewed her when I was on the going on to some of the Super Rugby Alpaki games, but she had a quick. I think she popped into the 15s game just after or around the Olympics, and talked about the difference in sort of having to put weight on for the 15s game. So the fact that she's been so successful at league shows she has managed that side of it, that conditioning side that you need.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That's a big thing in league. You're not going to get away with being a lights player with all the knocks you have. So great to see that she's had a successful time there and is coming back to. And one of the things about being a Kiwi coming back to being based here, where she can get back to family down in Taranaki, will be great for her, I think. So great fun.
Subtle name drop there, Paul. Well done. And Jacko also said before we move on, he thinks we have the best goal kicker in the NRLW. Hopefully she is doing some lessons with Luke. No, he can't do a lot of kicking at the moment. But we need all the help we can get for Luke for next year. So we'll move on to the round, mate. Kicking off on Thursday with the Bulldogs playing the Baby Panthers and beating them 28-4.
Yes, 5 tries to 1. For the Dogs, Lockie Galvin, Jacob Preston had a hat-trick, and Matt Burden. for the Panthers, just the one try to Paul Alamotti.
Yeah, to be honest, it wasn't the best performance from the Bulldogs, but they did more than enough to win it. Felt like they came into the match a bit overconfident, and it showed with some silly errors throughout the contest. But they just kept plugging away and refused to let the baby Panthers have a chance. We'll need to work on their error rate and their discipline before finals, as it could cost them. But yeah, overall, they did what they needed to do. Your thoughts on the Doggies?
Not really adding much, Brad. Yeah, I put that it's a win is a win at this point. Very hard to read anything into this game performance-wise from either team, just due to Panthers resting so many players, and they pretty much ran out with a reserve grade side. So I don't think it was a performance that fires any warning shots from the Bulldogs, but a win is a win. They needed to win, so they'll take it.
Yeah, and as Paul said, the Simbin for Zach Lipowitz, I think it was his name. Never seen the guy in my life, as you would expect with this team. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest debut for him. Your thoughts on the Panthers?
Yeah, well, again, very hard to read anything into it, but they rested their whole team essentially, and maybe came with a bit of a spoiling mindset. Some of their tactics, they're kicking the touch a lot and just, I guess, trying to disrupt the Doggies' flow. But I think they did a decent job of that, but were just obviously underpowered for a top 4 first grade team. So the result kind of was expected, but I think all in all, they did a decent enough job, given that most of these players won't feature.
Yeah, a win as expected for the baby Panthers. Very clunky and just lacked the firepower needed to combat a top 4 side. Did test the Bulldogs at times, as you said there, but just couldn't find any traction. But if the rest works and the Panthers march on to another premiership, no one's going to care about this result.
Yeah.
And Jacko said the Dog Sharkies game this would be very interesting. And Jacob Preston, top fantasy, was 75 points. Who'd you go with, mate?
Hat-trick
rule. We had to go with Jacob Preston. Yeah, I went with him too. Thought he did exactly what he needed to do. And yeah, he's not a player that would have got many hat-tricks in his life, so I'm sure he'll remember that. Next game on Friday, Eels defeating the Warriors 26-22.
Yeah, this one was actually 4 tries apiece for the Eels. Josh Adokar, Jack Williams, and a double for Isaiah Yongi. And for the Warriors, Adam Pompey, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and a double for Leka Halasima in the last 20. It's pretty much goal kicking the difference here. 3 from 4 for Tanner Boyd, and 5 from 5 for Lomax. 4 conversions, 1 penalty goal.
Yeah, you had to pick one night. The one night he had to get his goal kicking back, it was this one, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Eels hit the ground running, using their speed advantage to turn counter-attack into points. Those first 2 tries, just came off kick defusals, basically. Their pack kept the Warriors in check, and they stayed reasonably error-free, limiting the Warriors' chances of fighting back. Did get a case of the speed wobbles in the second half, though, and it almost cost them, but they hung in and refused to quit, ending the season quite well for them, and I expect big things out of them in 2026. Your thoughts on the Eels?
I think it's coming over here and getting a win against. We were a top 4 team at the time, so it's another great scalp for the Eels late in the season. They've started playing well now, so they've got that potential to upset teams still in contention. I guess you could see the direction they're heading, which is a positive for next year. They haven't had a lot of luck with the injuries this year. But they just had breakout moments in this one that the Warriors failed to deal with. The Adokar try, the try where they got the offload to Yongi and he just glided past everybody. I think we need to be better in those areas, but I mean, they definitely capitalized on it and took the win. So fair play to them.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Warriors?
Another poor home loss for the boys. I think you got to stop going to the games, Brad. You're the jinx at this point. I thought we did well not to drop our heads and work our way back into a position where we could have won the game, because we pretty much handed them a nice start on a plate. But the team this year, I think we don't drop our heads and we keep fighting, which is good. Lecker off the bench gave us great spark. But yeah, I feel like that was almost our best shot was him. Breakout moments. We didn't really create a lot, which is a shame at this stage of the season. We're still struggling to create a little bit, but I give the boys credit for staying in it till the end. And yeah, I had a bad feeling because the Eels have picked up their form, and we're just struggling to keep players on the pitch at this point. So, while disappointing, I wasn't completely surprised.
Yeah, disappointing result for the Warriors here. We caught napping early on with those long-range tries, which was my concern before the game, was the speed. I was like, I'm worried about how fast the Eels can be and that we have no speedsters, which, we saw. But I did think they looked a lot better in the second half, set up a few nice tries and almost got the match winner, but luck wasn't on their side in this. Just way too many errors. I think Paul mentioned earlier they dominated all the stats except for the errors. But yeah, when you're making that many errors, it makes coming back from a deficit that much harder, which is what we saw here. And at the moment, it could be because I'm being very negative at the moment. At the moment, it feels like they're the weakest of the top 8 sides coming into finals. And need to improve tenfold if they want to make an impact. Spot on the top 4 is still within reach, though. They've just got to start winning. We haven't talked about it at all, Matt. The call. Before we move on, I suppose we should talk about it. You agree with the decision? Disagree? I know we were very heated in the moment when we were all chatting.
Having watched it a few times now, I think they arrived at the right call. It's the whole murky area of what was it awarded on field, and is there enough video evidence to overturn on field? But the fact that we arrived at the right call and penalties were actually in our favor, we can't really be too aggrieved. I think Webby said it best in the press conference that we were in that position because of how we were playing rather than the one call.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only issue I have was the video ref said it was inconclusive. And the general rule of thumb is if it's inconclusive, you go with the ref's call. Yeah. But he didn't. He made a call even though he said it was inconclusive, which didn't make sense to me. But yeah, there was more than enough opportunities outside of that for the Warriors to win this game. Jacko said a time limit should be put on the bunker, 30 seconds, make a call, or go with the refs on field. Waiting for over 2 minutes is too much. Yeah. I'll say I haven't seen the stadium so animated as they were after that try. And then seeing the life completely sucked out of that stadium in one foul swoop when the ref blew the whistle and did his little box.
Kind of like Napier.
Yeah, very true, actually, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, very disappointing. Thankfully, they still have control of their own destiny, kind of. They need some help, but if they win, they still have a chance of making the top 4. So hopefully some lessons we learn. RTS top fantasy was 69 and Jack Williams topped for the Eels was 64. Who'd you go with?
Yongi. Yeah. Yongi's, I think he's the star of the future, and you could just see one of those that line break he made and scored off the offload. He just glides across the field. He looks like one of those guys, who I think they're moving a lot faster than what they even appear they are. And he's just so elusive. So couple of tries. I think he had a big impact here.
Yeah, I went with him too. Nice doubles, and he was causing a lot of trouble. And you can kind of see why they let Gutho go when he was there. So yeah, I had to go with him. And before we move on, Bjorn's here, and he said, for me, the ref loved Pompey as much as Brad, so he was never going to give him a try. Pompey's winning me over. Pompey won me money in this game, so I had him down as a try scorer. So yeah, he's doing all right. He had a good game, I thought.
We have a bromance.
But I will blame him on one thing. As I told Paul beforehand, that try that got disallowed, if he had just done the smart thing and taken the tackle instead of going over for the try, we would have saved it and then gone for the try on the next play, and no one would have stopped it. But he had white line fever.
How's he to know?
Yeah, he should know, mate. That's why he's not the top tier, mate. And Bjorn said, is this RTS best season for the Wires? Has been brilliant. I think so. I think he's playing really well. I think he has to be in the conversation for Daly and Winger. I think him and Marky Mark.
Yep.
Because they picked two.
There's a few good ones.
Coates has had some time off, though.
Down. Yeah, true, I suppose.
And like Brian To'o has had time away as well. So those things may affect them. And I think recently, RTS will be clocking up those Dally M points in those games. So I don't know. But yeah, even if he doesn't, I don't think it changes. I think it's his record now, most tries scored in the season too. He's got 12. So yeah, fantastic from him.
It might be 12, but it puts him 18th in the try scoring list. And to suggest that, that he'd be, that's a big ask to say that he's going to make it onto the Daily M's kind of thing.
Wingers. For wingers, Paul. For wingers, they get it. They pick in each position.
I guess Paul's saying that wingers' job's to score tries.
Yeah, exactly. Surely there's a couple of wingers ahead of him there that.
Well, I can see three in the top four. Him as a fullback. So yeah, Marky Mark, Xavier Coates, Daniel Tupou, Josh Adokar, Philip Sami, Alex Johnston. Has Casey McLean been playing winger?
No, centre.
He's been a centre. Ronaldo, Garrick, and then Roger. So there's a couple. There's a handful, Paul.
Some good options, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the next game. Roosters defeating the Storm 40-10.
Hang on.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Who's your man of the match?
We already talked about it. Isaiah Yongi. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I missed that. I'll shut up.
Yeah. Jeez, man. So Roosters defeating the Storm 40-10.
Yeah. Speaking of Marky Mark, 7 tries to 2 for the Roosters. Marky Mark, yeah, he had 4. Not many people do that to the Storm. Siwa Wong, Robert Toya, and James Tedesco. And for the Storm, Sean Bloor and Grant Anderson.
Yeah, Roosters were back to the best after a lackluster effort against the Eels the week before. Their forwards set the platform, and then it was the Marky Mark show, with him basically being unstoppable whenever he touched the ball all night. Could have easily got a 5-try bag, to be honest. Robert Toya was sitting in Mark's spot when he got that try. But yeah, should prove to be a tough team to face in the finals and could eliminate a few favourites if they stay in this kind of form.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a massive second half from the Roosters, scoring 40 unanswered points.
Yeah.
I think just off the back of some really slick play. Tedesco, I think he's playing as well as he ever has. He's had a killer year. And Marky Mark, obviously, he's an absolute freak show on the wing. You said they could cause some teams some problems. I put down it's very worrying if the Warriors get them in week 1 of finals, which definitely on our radar. It's a possibility.
To be honest, I think whoever they face in that first round of finals, they're going to beat.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that's not us. But yeah, the bias thing aside, if it is us, it's here in Mount Smart, and I get to watch Mark live, which I haven't done yet. So
yeah,
I'll have that negative. I don't want to watch it, but I really want to see him in the flesh because he's been fantastic this year. Your thought on the Storm?
I thought they were decent-ish in the first half, but shocking in the second half. Poor Craig Bellamy, his blood pressure must have been through the roof. Just not Storm-like at all that second half. I think they will get dialed in for finals, but that second 40 definitely not up to their standards.
Yeah, very error-prone effort from the Storm, especially in a milestone match for Craig Bellamy. It was his 600th game as a coach, so I really expected them to maybe, even if they didn't win, to actually be very competitive, and it was far from it. They looked like they never showed up in that second half. Barely looked like they arrived in the first, and they just struggled to build momentum, and they couldn't stop the Roosters. It looked like they had no idea what to do to stop Mark doing what he was doing. It felt like they were just watching. Expecting a massive bounce back performance from them this week, which could prove helpful for the Warriors. I know there was a lot of rumors they were going to rest players, and then after that loss, it was like there's no way Bellamy's going to let any of those guys have time off. He's going to have them straight out there, which is what he's done. So, I'm expecting a massive game from them this week. Mark score top fantasy was 79. Who'd you go with? We don't have a 4-try rule, mate. So
no,
the world is yours.
I think it kind of goes without saying. I would slap myself if I didn't pick him.
I went with him too.
Marky Mark.
Fantastic. I can honestly say he is going well better than I expected. I think when we talked about him signing, it was like maybe towards the end of the season in 2025, he might get to play a few games and like adjust after having like a whole year in reserve grade. That's not the case. He hit the ground running and hasn't looked back.
And he's still got another year in his contract. I thought there was some talk about him coming back to Union, but
I think there was like he said he would be interested in playing in the World Cup, but the World Cup's next year, right?
Yeah, so that doesn't seem to make sense.
So he wouldn't be able to.
So Fox Sports apparently about 8 hours ago posted something that apparently he's on $500,000 a year, which for a guy who just scored 4 tries seems like a good deal.
He's going to be getting a pay rise, that's for sure.
And apparently his management hoping to get a pay rise up to $700K per season, which still seems like a good deal to me for a guy who's playing like this well.
And Bjorn said 2027 is the World Cup. So is it 27, Paul? You're the rugby guy.
It is.
It's not an odd number. That's right. It'll be interesting because obviously his contract runs out at the end of next season and next year.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm biased, but I feel like staying in the league and playing for the Kangaroos is better than playing for the Wallabies. I know the Wallabies are doing okay at the moment. Mate. Yeah, they're doing okay though.
Like a Sonny Williams, just pop over for 1 year and come straight back again.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to get that Wallaby stink on you though, but we'll see. Next,
play a sport that's got a real international.
Come on, Paul. We're getting our internationals up and running. He could get to go to England at the end of this year if he keeps playing like this. Next game, we have the Raiders defeating the Tigers 24-10 to secure the minor premiership.
4 tries to 2 for the Raiders. Jed Stewart, Corey Horsburgh, Simi Sisangi, and Ethan Strange. For the Tigers, Jareem Bula and Jarrell Skelton.
Another top side that I thought looked a bit clunky this week. I think it may have been the nerves with the minor premiership and their graphs and sitting just behind them at the stadium. But in the second half, they switched on. It didn't lead to a lot of points, but more importantly for the Raiders, they just shut the Tigers down and struck when they had chances. Well-deserved minor premiers, and it'd be a hell of a story if they go all the way. And if the Warriors can't do it, I want them to. If I'm being biased here. But yeah, they're a team that everyone wrote off, ourselves included. I didn't have them as wooden spooners, but I didn't see them making the 8, I don't think, in our predictions. But yeah, been fantastic all year. Your thoughts on the Raiders?
Yeah, I definitely not 10 out of 10 by their standards this year, but gutsy nonetheless. They're just in a great place at the moment. They've made winning a habit, and they did what they had to do in this one to lock in that shield. The Tigers threw a bit at them, but they win more often than they don't this year. They've got that mentality, and I'm very much like you, mate. If we get stopped in our tracks, I'm all in on the Raiders. I'd love to see someone outside of obviously the Panthers and the Storm do it, and Raiders I think would be ideal.
Okay, the moment the Warriors get knocked out, the following week, I expect to see both in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle outfits for the for the show.
I can do that.
I don't have an outfit, but I love the turtles. I'm just looking. I'm looking at our predictions. I'm looking at our predictions now, and all three of us didn't have the Raiders in there. But yeah,
we weren't alone.
It's going to look terrible. Paul actually won Coach to be fired. He picked Des Hasler. So yeah, well done, Paul. Paul got a couple right looking at it already, so I'm a bit nervous. It's going to be another year where Paul kicks our asses at predictions. Your thoughts on the Tigers?
Yeah, brave effort in the first half, but just way too many errors. I think that's the Tigers look to play a bit of ball, and that sometimes it goes that way. But yeah, I think they just gave up too many. They gave away possession too often, I should say, which just made the Raiders' life a little bit easy, even though the Raiders weren't playing out of their skin. They were just offered up enough opportunities by the Tigers where they were able, played the Tigers out of the game.
Yeah. And Jacko said for the Tigers.
Well, there you go. It was 11-all for errors, so I guess the Tigers ones were just more noticeable for me.
Yeah, and Jacko said Tigers improving will be a top 8 threat next season, which is kind of what I put in here for me. The Tigers were in this contest in the first half, but just struggled to find ways through the Raiders' defensive line in the second. The more they tried, the more errors they made, which is probably why you noticed it more. Still big improvers, though, in this season and are on the right track. I think if you asked any Tigers fans at this point of the year, they'd be sitting, like 10th or 11th. They would be over the moon compared to the last couple of years where they've been dead last. So some people might laugh, making it to still not making finals, but they're going from winning like 3 or 4 games a year to actually competing every week.
Yeah, and they've not looked. Yeah, as you say, they've not looked like being bottom of the table all season. It's not. This isn't just like a sudden. Oh, geez, guys, let's pull our fingers out. This has been a constant. It's been a constant improvement. It did help they won 2 out of their first 3 opening games to give them a good start, and they did have that wobbles during the middle where they had a 6-game losing streak, but they've managed to pull it round, and finish relatively strongly.
Yeah. But yeah, Raiders, congrats on the minor premiership. Great effort. See, Paul Simon said winning the minor premiership was beyond his wildest dreams. So yeah, congrats there. It's been a long time since the Warriors did that. So I know how that felt back in those days. Terrell May top fantasy with 87, and Hudson Young was top for the Raiders with 71. Who'd you go with?
I went Big Red. Got a nice try. I think he's just he's been great for them this season. Super aggressive. Plays to his hair color. He's just angry man. But very effective.
He's captain this week. He's been rewarded. Yeah. So not rewarded enough to get a night off, though.
So quick quizzing for you then. When is the last time the Raiders won the minor premiership? They've won it once before.
I did know this because they talked about it, but I can't remember it now.
93?
1990, the Winfield Cup.
Wow. It had to be early 90s.
Yeah. Bjorn got it.
Actually, I think 93 might have been Broncos, actually.
And the last premiership was 94. So yeah, it's been a long time.
Should have been a few years ago when they were cheated out of the grand final. But Um, we'll go on. So you went Big Red. I went with Hudson Young. Thought he was doing a lot of the hard yards, which was shown in his fantasy points. But he's finding the line now where he can be aggressive without being ill-disciplined like he used to be all the time. Still has flares up from time to time, but at the moment, he's been well behaved. We'll move to the next game on Saturday. The Seagulls defeating the Dragons 40-24.
Yep, 7 tries to 4. For the Seagulls, Corey Waddell, he had 2. Tolu Kola, Cherry Evans, Aaron Shoup, Tommy Talau, and Caleb Navale. And for the Dragons, King Tongia, Jacob Little, Christian Tuipulotu, and Emre Gula.
Yeah, Manly appears to be hitting some good form just in time to face the Warriors this week. They hit the ground running here and just ripped the Dragons apart, breaking the line almost at will. They look to be on the same page, which isn't something we've said about them a lot this year. And despite starting the second half a little slow, they didn't allow the Dragons to dictate the match. Final spot is still in their grasp if some miracles happen, as I said. We'll talk about it when we get to the ladder. But regardless of that, they're going to be a tough side for the Warriors to face this week.
Yeah, for sure. Another big win. That leaves you wondering where this has been on a consistent week-to-week basis. When they flick the switch, they're sweet to watch. They have so many points in them. They did let in 3 second-half tries, but I guess the game was already dead and gone by that point. But yeah, the way they've run up points the past couple of weeks has me very concerned ahead of this weekend.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Dragons?
They just couldn't stop Manly's attack, and possibly they're looking a bit tired. I think they did score some nice tries as a consolation, but yeah, just looks like they're just limping to the end of the season. The Dragons.
Yeah, Dragons were caught napping in the first half here, letting Manly walk all over them. They did start to fight back in the second half using second phase footy to hurt Manly. But just as it looked like the comeback was on, they seemed to switch off again and allowed Manly to push out further. Were ill-disciplined and sloppy, but they avoided that wooden spoon again, unfortunately, and they'll be ready for the season to be over. And Jagger said Manly usually don't have 2 good games in a row, so he's hoping. And Bjorn said their young back with so much speed, sadly, it's good to watch with the Seagulls. That is still the biggest fear I have with them is the pace.
So just on that one for the Seagulls, they've in the sort of rounds 3 and 4 they beat the Raiders and the Eels back to back. They also beat the Tigers, Rabbitohs, and Storm over 4 weeks, with a bye in there, and they're coming off the back-to-back wins over the Dolphins and the Dragons. So, yes, they went through a long period in the middle without two wins back to back, but they'd have managed to put a couple in recently.
Yeah, and Jagger said cooler out will hurt them. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, your player to stand out.
Went with DCE.
Yeah, and he also top fantasy with the big 92. I went with him too.
Thick of everything. Yeah,
I'm hoping he used up all of his abilities in this game.
Me too.
But yeah, we'll see. Next game on Saturday, Broncos defeated the Cowboys 38-30.
Excuse me. Yeah, 7 tries to 5 for the Broncos. We had Gamat Shibasaki. He had 2. Katoni Staggs, Josiah Karapani, Reese Walsh, Billy Walters, and Payne Haas. For the Cowboys, Semi Valame, Reese Robson, Jake Clifford. Semi Valame got a 2nd, and Braden Burns.
Yeah, Broncos almost had me believing that they would let this one slip and help the Warriors out with a few errors keeping the Cowboys in the contest. But they just filled to the brim with the attacking talent and just keep throwing stuff at the wall right up until the final whistle. And when it comes off, they normally win. Will be a dangerous team in finals if they can keep this attacking style up. But they still need to improve on the defensive side of the ball. They can't try to just outscore players in finals.
Yeah. Obviously, big result for the Broncos. Puts them into the 4 with a game to go. They play a game not many can hang with when they get it right. That's the key, is them getting it right. I think Walsh, he must have found that secret sauce with the toilet water, because he's got better and better the longer he's been back from injury. And
he drank it at halftime, man. He was in.
He must have. He must have. I think he stepped up. He has stepped up once they lost Reynolds and Mam as well. He's coming up with a lot of lovely passes for line breaks and tries, the bugger. But yeah, you got to give him props.
Just on the stats, so you mentioned errors. Yeah, 17 by the Broncos. That's a stack load, and only 69% completion rate as well on their sets. So some real bad stats for the Broncos, and yet they still managed to come out with the win.
That's the kind of team there. I think they don't need high completion. They can flog you with periods of play. Yeah.
And your thoughts on the Cowboys?
They actually played some footy in this one, and generally they do. You know, in the Cowboys versus Broncos derby, you normally see both teams turn up and chuck the ball around. Like I guess typical Cowboys, plenty of points for, but plenty of points against. And I guess as well they did concede a try while Braden Burns in the sin bin. I hate those sin bins, where minimal contact with the kicker's leg, but they go down. The kicker goes down like a ton of bricks to fool the ref. Hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was disappointing. Cowboys, I thought they did dig deep for the final game of the year for them, and they tried keeping up with the Broncos, but the defense let them down again. Need a big overhaul in this upcoming off-season. And yeah, Jagger said Cow's far better with Clifford on the field. Yeah, I thought he played all right. Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, if you're going into a battle where you're just throwing defense out the window and just scoring, just trying to outscore the opposition, the lineup the Broncos have is going to beat you any day of the week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see if Peyton can turn this team around for 2026. Who do you have as your player of the day?
The young superstar, the toilet water drinker.
Yeah, he also top fantasy with 90. I went with him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I think the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that he did wrong was that little intercept he threw.
For Semi Valame.
Yeah.
Other than that, he was spot on.
But yeah, other than that, yeah, I thought he was pretty good. Toilets aside. First game on Sunday, we have the Sharks defeating the Knights 40-16.
Yep. 7 tries to 3. For the Sharks, Adam Fanor-Blake, Ronaldo Mulitalo had 3. Siosifa Talakai, Mawene Hiroti, and Braden Hamlin-Uele. And for the Knights, Fletcher Hunt, Greg Marju, Elijah Celesa, Leila Moana. Jesus, there's some mouthfuls in those try scores, mate. Both teams, tell you what.
Well done. If only you weren't here, so Paul had to do it. Solid win from the Sharks here. Needed to put the Knights to the sword, and that second half effort did it tenfold. Had some issues with cohesion in the first half, but everything clicked after half time, and not much else really to say. Just a good morale booster for finals.
Yeah, I'm similarly brief. I thought it was well executed win for this time of year. I expect the Sharks to put away the Knights heavily, and they did. Yeah, I think they're trending the right way heading into finals. Some of these stars are starting to show some form. You know, Mulitalo, I think Nico's looking a lot better the longer the season goes. So they're looking all right.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Knights?
Their season can't finish soon enough. I guess it's it's just been one of those years, where they've just dropped most of their games. The coaching's been under question, and now they got to move forward from that and find some new staff. But yeah, it's just been one of those years where they've heavily underperformed, and they just want to get to the end of it, I guess.
Yeah, they were outclassed, the Knights. They made less errors than the Sharks, but they just couldn't create anything that troubled the Sharks' defence. That's all I really have. I just got whoever takes the role on in 26 as the head coach has a lot of work to do. But yeah, we talked about it, the Sandon Smith thing. I think any decisions about they're trying to approach him. Any decisions about position should be not discussed until the coach is in place. Because you don't want to tell 100%. Him, you don't want to potentially lose a halfback because you're telling him going to turn him into a lock and then have whoever the coach comes in as going, no, that's my number 7. So you probably shouldn't want to try to sign players either until you've got a coach in place, because that might not be the style that they want. But Mulatalo top fantasy with a modest 62, Paul said. Who'd you pick?
Yeah, Ronaldo.
Yeah, Patrick Rowe. Yeah, I went with him as well. And Jagger said Knights roster's way out of balance, will take a minimum 3 years to correct. Yeah, they got a lot of work to do. I still think the Dylan Brown signing is a mistake for the length of it and how much money. Yep. I think I feel like their only option is they've got to let Ponga go and get some of that money back and try to even up the roster, but we'll see what happens. And then we go to the final game of the round, mate. Dolphins defeating the Titans 36-30.
Yep, 6 tries to 5 for the Dolphins. Trey Fuller, Tavita Naufahu, Hammer so Tabuai Fido. Tavita Naufahu had a second. Isaiah Katoa and Cody Nikarima for the Titans. Brian Kelly, Jalen DeGroot, Kieran Foran, AJ Brimson, and Jaden Campbell.
Yeah, was an entertaining match to finish off the round, although I expected more out of the Dolphins here. They just left their defense at the door, and thankfully they didn't let it slip when the Titans started to build momentum. Got plenty of attacking firepower, and with Herbie Farmworth potentially returning this week, he's named on the extended bench. They could finally make finals, and they just need to win and remember to tackle. So they still have a shot. I didn't look into the logistics of how out of the field it is for them. But yeah, I felt like some of their attack got a bit stilted with Hammer going off a couple of times with an issue with his eye, I think it was. But yeah, they did what they needed to do to win. At the moment, they just need to win. So your thoughts on the Dolphins?
Yeah, I guess if there's been a theme to the Dolphins season so far, they've struggled later in the season when they pick up injuries. Kind of being the case again this season. They had a scintillating mid-season where they seem to be putting 40 and 50 on most teams. But again, yeah, some big injuries have hurt them. Again, this week they struggled defensively again this week, but they did enough to win the shootout. They held on. It was a shootout of a game, and they did enough to get the result.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Titans?
Horrible start to this one, but we know the Titans' attack can catch fire. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough here to come out on top. Yeah, another team where the season can't come soon enough. I think they're gonna pick up the spoon, and they're losing a coach, but they're a mess of a franchise, that one.
I was looking back at those predictions as we were talking. You had the Titans as your wooden spooners, so you got this on the money. But yeah, the Titans started on the back foot right out of the gate.
They could pull it off in the last week of the season,
and it would be like them to do that.
Yeah, they're not playing the Warriors in the final round, so I think we're safe. But yeah, they started off the back foot right out of the gate, but they did claw their way back. However, it was said for years on this show, they need to learn how to defend, as nowadays there's just too many teams that are too good for them to try to outscore, which was the case here. Josh Hanna's got a lot of work to do. We're just got to, I guess for his sake, he's got to hope he's got a long enough rope for the Titans to give him before they try to move on, because he's not gonna turn them around overnight. Cody Agrima top fantasy with 80, which I find that I don't think he's ever scored that combined in a season. Bloody Cody Agrima, what the hell?
He was good though.
He was good. Who'd you go with?
I actually put Trey Fuller. I just think he's eye catching.
Yeah, I went Trey Fuller as well.
Yeah, acceleration's off the charts, man. Again, this week you just bust the line and then can set up Hammer. It's just so fast.
Yeah, I guess with Herbie coming back, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, if they move Hammer back to fullback or if they go, no, we want to have Hammer and Trey and Herbie all out there. And they do something else. But, yeah, I thought he's been great. I think he's kind of shone every time he gets an opportunity this year.
The interesting thing there is if you do retain Trey Fuller at fullback and presumably you bump Hammer out to the other centre, what happens with the rest of the back line? Because they're bringing in Sal and Cobbo. I'm guessing that means Avarillo drops out, but gee, there's some talent there to squeeze in.
Yeah, I guess they might be talking with those other guys and saying we've got Cobbo for 1 year. So, don't throw a tenty if you're getting dropped for Cobbo, because he'll be gone next year and you'll be back. I don't know. Be interesting. It's the problems when you get a lot of talented players all at the same time in similar positions. But that was the round, so we'll go to the ladder, mate. I had top 8 last week.
Yep.
So that's you, mate.
Yep. Minor Premiership, Raiders already locked in. Second, Storm, Bulldogs third. Broncos move up to fourth. Sharks move up to fifth. The Wars, we dropped down to sixth following that loss to the Eels. Seventh is Panthers, and rounding out the top 8, the Roosters.
Then the rest, we have the Dolphins at 9th, Seagulls at 10th, Tigers 11th, the Eels after that win moved up to 12th, Rabbits moved up to 13th, Cowboys moved down to 14th, Dragons moved down to 15th, Knights and Titans stay where they were at 16th and 17th. And Jacko made a good comment saying good first season for the Finns following Bennett. Yeah, the Bennett curse I think you can throw away. 9th is not too bad. Still a logistics shot. They need the Roosters to lose though. They need, because their points differential isn't as bad as Manly. Like Manly are plus 20, Roosters 102, Dolphins are 87. So a decent win for them. A semi-decent loss for the Roosters. Yeah. They could squeeze in. At the moment, I think you're probably looking at the top 8 as is. Very brave call there from me, Paul. That the 8 we got now with a week to go is going to stay. But I think I don't see the Roosters losing. I see the Roosters winning.
Me too. I think
they'll go to 32. Yeah.
I mean, look, when you talk about 9th being kind of a good one after breaking the because look, I mean, Bennett got the 13th, 10th, 9th this season would be another place up. So look, he's improved on Wayne Bennett very slightly. The curse definitely will be over if they hold on to that place. But the battle for last, look, that's really on, because when you think that the Knights are taking on the lost it. The Knights taking on the visiting the Eels, and as we've said, the Eels are going well at the moment, whereas the Titans are taking on the Tigers from memory. Where's it gone, that game? And they're at home, whereas the Knights are on the road. So Titans at home to the Tigers, the Knights on the road. So there's a real possibility there. And as you can see, the Titans have got a better points difference than the Knights. So if the Titans can get that win over the Tigers, they would lift themselves off bottom place.
You're dreaming, Paul. You're dreaming. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Hopefully they both lose.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for a scandal so the Dragons get some points deducted for salary cap breaches and go down to the last place. The NRL is not getting my emails where I keep saying I've got intel. But yeah, so forgetting those guys, what changes do you really see? Really, the only changes people care about is top four. And I guess, yeah, do you think it's kind of spoilers for picking later? Do you think the Broncos can hold on to that spot? Do you think the Sharks could get it? Do you think the Warriors could get it?
I think the Broncos lose. I think the Storm getting a hiding last week does not help the Broncos. I think the Storm will be looking for a bounce back, and I think they even welcome back Jerome Hughes this week, if I'm not wrong. I think the Broncos lose, and then it's up to the Sharks and the Warriors. The Sharks have a hard game as well.
Yeah, we could be sitting here next week talking about they're all in the same spot because all three lost. So, you know, that's a very likely possibility too. I think Broncos and Sharks are definitely going to lose. Or as definite as you can be in the NRL. But the Warriors are, we'll talk about it soon, but I'm not as confident. I'm hopeful, but not confident. But yeah, first, second, and third are all squared up. Yeah, even if the Storm lose and the Bulldogs win, they still won't change because of points differential. So it's just really that fourth spot that's up for grabs and potentially the eighth spot. And then, you know, if the Panthers drop another game, they could move to eighth. So, but I don't see that happening either. But that's it. We can talk about that when we talk about the upcoming round, I guess. We'll go to fantasy teams. Second to last time we have to bore people with this idea of Richie's. I think when you came up with this idea, mate, you thought you were going to do a lot better than what you've done.
I don't know about that.
I was going to say this week for the first time. I mean, he's in the same. He's within 100 for a change.
Yeah,
mate. This is my first time cracking 800. I'm celebrating this week. This is great, Brad. This is fantastic.
When I think I can find the message. You messaged me when you cracked 800. I'm going to crack 800. And I think at that point I had cracked 300 because I had a team with no bench, basically. I lost. I was in the preliminary final in my competition against Robbie, who thankfully isn't here this week. He was whooping me, and then I lost. I ended up losing by 100, which is still a lot, but I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Just due to the bloody Panthers resting everybody. But yeah, so you got 807, well done, mate, and I got 855.
I feel like Robbie did turn up and you just
not even playing. He was missing a winger.
Yeah.
If he had that winger, he'd have been ahead of you.
Yeah.
You were lucky, bro.
Maybe.
Yeah, most likely. But yeah, he had a whole bench, didn't you, Richie?
Yeah. Brad, you were missing on the bench, weren't you?
I had a 2-man bench, and one of my men on my bench got 9 because he played like 10 minutes. Bastard's starting this week for the Raiders, though, so he'll give me more.
Moving onwards.
Fantasy points, Bjorn. This is why Bjorn decided to show up tonight, because he knew about this. So Bjorn used his last joker. We had quite a few jokers this round, and Bjorn shot to the top. So Bjorn is number 1. Simon is second. Evelyn, one of the late starters, is third. The Urk is 4th. NB Sports Band 5th. ACC Hellcat is 6th. Mac is 7th. I'm 8th. Boy from SMB 9th. Richie, you're going down to 10th, which is hard when you only get 2 games wrong, mate, to drop that far. It sucks.
But it's the nature of jokers, mate.
Yeah. Princess Cahill 11th, Roscoe 12th, Harry Poppins 13th, Michael Pizzuto 14th, and Hammer is 15th. So see, 6 for not even playing is not bad. But yeah,
I'm happy for Bjorn and Simon. I'll be pulling for either one of those fellas now. Hopefully they.
Yeah.
Oh, your boy.
It's going to be a.
Mac was.
No, bugger him.
Bugger him. There all season. And he's
Behind the
yeah,
scenes, he's been talking too much crap, so I'm glad he's dropped.
He's collapsed over the last 3 weeks.
And I think the tipping. I don't think it keeps going in the finals, does it? I can't remember.
No, I think this is it, isn't it?
We've got one more week. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's. I think you guys, Bjorn might have it. He's got a 2-point lead.
Yeah.
3 point.
Simon
So
might have to
Bjorn's
pull
got a
out.
3-point lead, but boy, oh boy, second is up for grabs because Simon, Evelyn, the Urk are all on 142 points with NBA Sports Fan and ACT Hellcat just on 141. So it's really tight. 5 people there could get second place.
I'm going to look at the settings and see if I can give myself as admin an extra joker and use it.
Or you just give everyone an extra joker 2 minutes before the last game and put it in, and no one else has time to use it.
It's too late. I've already submitted my picks this week. But yeah, I think 3 was the max you could give everyone anyway. You just got to know how to use them. I use them far too early, or use them poorly. But yeah, so that's it for that. Any questions we didn't already answer, Paul?
No, we've done it all there. I'm just trying to have a quick look at how I'm trying to. I can't find it. 14, 12, 8. It was just your last one. Your last one was a throwaway, really. Let's be honest. Your other 2 jokers weren't too bad.
I only used that because I was absolutely completely convinced I was going to get a perfect round. I haven't got a perfect round yet this year.
Anyway,
but yeah. So my question to you first, mate, because yours goes a bit longer. If you had to tip today, who wins the premiership?
You know what? I think my head and my heart is in the same place on this one. I think the Raiders are playing well enough where they can do it. So I'm just going to try and put all my energy into hoping they win it. If the Warriors don't win, obviously, that's that. If the Warriors don't win, that's who I want to win, and I think they're good enough to do it this year.
Yeah, I'd like them to win. If I'm tipping today, though, I'm tipping Storm because I want to be safe with my money. I think they, especially after that loss last week, I feel like that's going to be the turning point. They're still my favorites, as Jacko just said, still favorites. It's not who you want to win, it's who you think will win. So I'll be riding the Raiders. I hope
Raiders gave them hell last time.
That is true. That is true. Your question to me.
So just before you go on, quickly on the TAB. The TAB have got the Storm at $2.60, the Raiders at $4, then the Panthers at $7.25.
Wow.
So
I think we're paying 41.
You are, yes. The Raiders are paying 41. The Dolphins at 401. The Manly Sea Eagles 1,001. So the Warriors are last out of the sort of the real top 8. Let's be honest. They're Bulldogs $10, Broncos 12, Roosters 18, Sharks 19. Then a big gap to the Warriors at 41. That's which I think is a bit harsh, really.
Disrespectful.
Well, it's because we're losing to teams like the Eels at home.
That's true. But what are the Roosters odds?
So the Roosters are 18, and they could even drop out of the 8.
Yeah, and they lost to the Eels too, Richie. So they got smashed. Yeah. We didn't get smashed. They got smashed by the Eels.
Well, at the end of the day, the team that wins the comp isn't necessarily who the TAB thinks.
That is true. Your question to me.
Looking forward to next year, would you like to see any changes of what we'd consider our best lineup, or some kind of evolution of our game plan heading into 2026? That will sort of, with the goal of being in a premiership window.
I think the evolution of the game plan, it's been the same game plan every year since we became in. First year, we caught everyone off guard, but everyone knows the shtick now. So I think there needs to be some different facets to his attacking structures at times. I think once you've got everyone back, I think you can build a bit more, but it feels very one out, kick and pressure, one out, kick and pressure.
It is.
We're in trouble, throw it to Lecker. That type of thing. So I think building a bit more on it. Again, it is hard this year. You can't really expect them to build on the game plan when you've lost one of your top props and you lost your halfback. So I give them a bit of leeway there. We're looking at the squad for this year at the moment there. Yeah, and I love him, but I still think the extension of Chance was wrong. I feel like I still feel like having Tane at fullback and giving him the keys to fullback would have been my idea going forward. I think there's still potentially a window where you do that and you move Chance into centres maybe or something. Yeah, I think there needs to be some changes around for the best lineup as you've got there. And JS said 2026 attack must improve, given how well the youngsters have come into grade. Maybe we can blood some more. Our back three are all aging. Yeah, at the moment, I think as harsh it is, I think a clean out's on the way. Next year's Roger's last year anyway. He's basically said after that he's looking at going to that rugby comp or something. So he will be gone. That's why they've got that young Mellors kid. You've got a few others in the young grades that will come up. So I'm expecting next year you'll see them get time. So they get some experience before it's gone. Dallin, I feel, will be not far behind. Kurt Capewell will be gone as well. I think next year will probably be his last. So there will be a few older heads gone. Gannon's going to be in. I think Gannon's going to add some. It's hard because we've only seen him in Super League. So it's hard to say, like, transitioning to rugby NRL if he will have the same impact. But he's a talented player. So I think there's just got to be some more attacking plans. Like, that first year when we became in, we had that move to the right to Dallin. That always worked. That's kind of gone now because we don't have the players to get it there. But there's got to be some evolution to his attack because you can't just bring out the same. I don't want to say boring because it's not. But yeah, there needs to be something there, which I'm sure they'll work on. But yeah, it's hard to do that right now when you don't have your guy leading the park out there. And Jay said we missed Dylan Walker far more than most say. Maybe Gannon is his replacement. Yeah, we've missed him a lot. I think Aaron's done well taking that spot that Tohu had. I think we've got to remember that as well. Tohu was meant to be playing this year too. But yeah, we've missed Dylan being. I think that's why Tamati's kind of been a good guy this year, where he's kind of taken that Dylan Walker role when he comes on. He's just not used as much as Dylan Walker was, but he comes on and adds almost an additional playmaker out there, which can make the attack look a little bit better. We kind of saw that in the game of the weekend. When he came on for Wade Egan, the attack picked up a bit. So, yeah, they need something. And Bjorn said we need to sign Luke ASAP, otherwise we're missing that top line half. Yeah, I from what I've heard, they're kind of waiting to talk to him until he's had the surgery and started the rehab process. You don't want to kind of dump on him while he's in that mindset. But I don't see him going anywhere. I think they're gonna get a deal on the table and he'll take it. I think he is enjoying his time here. And at the moment, what the offers are, it's not like you're getting asked to go to the Broncos, the Roosters, or the Panthers. It's deals going to like the Titans and the Dolphins and things like that. And Dolphins, he'll only end up being a 6 because Katoa's their 7. So if he wants to be a 7, being the Warriors is probably his best shot. But yeah, we'll see. So we'll move on. I rambled far too much about your question. Unless you got to add something.
Nah, not really, mate. You're good.
You threw me a tough one. You threw me a tough one at the last minute. So we'll go on to Warriors Seagulls, mate. Final game of the regular season at 4 Pines Park. Also the last game, most likely, for DCE as an Eagle. You want to run down the Warriors team?
Yeah, I can do that. Fullback, CNK. The wingers, Watene Zelesniak, Tuivasa-Sheck. Centres, Adam Pompey, Rockaberry. Halves, Harris Tavita, Tanner Boyd. Front row, Fisher Harris, Tanner Stower Smith, and Sam Healy's replacing Wade Egan at hooker. Second row, Kurt Capel, Marati Niakore. Lock, Aaron Clark. Interchange, Tamairi Martin, Eddie Edemir Tuiava, Dimitrik Vaiamonga, and Leka Halasima.
Yeah, not bad. It's exactly what my team was in my review when I said who I'd pick. I said I wasn't sure on how Egan was. If Egan's not 100%, bring Sam Healy in, which is what they've done. Jacko said he's got to go. Cheers, Jacko. See you next week. So, yeah, I'm happy with what we've got available. I think that's the best team we can come up with right now. So I'm more than happy with what we've got there. I love Sam Healy, so anytime he gets to go, I'm happy. Another concern I had with Tamari Martin getting extended too is we could lose Sam Healy, who is has the potential of being their number one hooker for years to come.
Yeah, I like the team.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think it's as good as we can throw together.
So I'll talk about Manly. Tommy Turbo is at fullback. The wingers, we've got Jason Saab and Lehia Hopewadi. Centres, we've got Clayton Falalo and Tommy Talau. Halves, we've got Luke Brooks and Daly Cherry Evans. Front row, we've got Matt Lodge, Jake Simkin, and Sio Takiaho. Second row, we've got Corey Waddell, Ben Travojevic. And then lock, we've got Jazz. Last game in the NRL playing against his old club. Bench, we've got Joey Walsh, Caleb Navali, Ethan Bullimore, and it was Toff Sipley. I don't know who they replaced him with now since he has been banned. Hold on, I should have checked that beforehand, but I wasn't going to redo the picture. Hold on. He's still named at 17, so they haven't updated either. So I assume I don't know. I don't know out of that extended bench who they're going to replace him with. But that's a good side for them too. Cooler's going to be a massive loss. But yeah, I'm worried about that back three.
I'm worried about just the whole thing. So if I'm doing my tip, I'm tipping Manly. And last week I tipped Warriors and jinxed them. So I'm hoping for the reverse of that.
Yeah, the TAB agrees with you. The Manly at home, they're $1.52. The Warriors away from home, $2.55. As we mentioned before, the Sea Eagles on a 2-game winning streak. With the whereas the obviously the Warriors coming off the back of a loss.
Yeah, I'm picking Seagulls too. I am really hoping and riding like hell that the Warriors get this one and get the top 4 spot. But Manly, last game of the year for them, DCE's last game for them. I know it hasn't been that great this year since he announced he was leaving, and it felt like the team doesn't like him. But you're going to expect a massive turnout from the fans for him, and the players are going to be playing for him. Jazz, his last game as well, he's going to want to make sure he doesn't lose to the Warriors both times he played against them in his final year in the NRL. So he'll want to make sure. I think I listened to it a few today. He said he's got a number of Warriors players on his hit list to take out. He said he wants to get Roger early so he doesn't step the whole team. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm hoping like hell I'm wrong, but I'm going Manly as well. Yep. Next, the rest of the round.
Dirty rotten traitors, the two of you. Absolutely.
Trying to win a comp here, Paul. Trying to get all the games. It's the last round. I want to get a perfect round before the season starts. First game on Thursday, we have the Broncos playing the Storm. I've gone Storm.
I also have gone Storm.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Storm 4-1 at the moment. Broncos also 4-1. So two of the form teams going head to head. Broncos are $2.25 at home. The Broncos $1.65 on the road. So yeah, the TAB agree with you on that one.
Yeah, then the next game was the Seagulls Warriors. We both picked Seagulls. Second game on Friday, Roosters Rabbits. I've gone Roosters.
Roosters. Yep.
Yeah, one of the shorter odds of the weekend. The Roosters, $1.26. Obviously coming into form with Marky Mark, etc. Whereas the Rabbits, $3.90. Who, admittedly, on a good run of form themselves, but they've got nothing to play for, unlike the Roosters.
Hopefully, AJ gets the try record, though. That's all I care about. But then the next game, first game was Saturday, Dragons versus Panthers.
How many does he need? Just the one?
I think it's just the one.
I think it's 1 to equal 2 to...
1 to equal 2 to... He needs a double to take it.
Oh, I mean, giving him the ball, letting him walk over, stroll over for a try in the opening second would be okay. But for 2 tries, that's a bit of a comeback, so maybe not.
Marky Marks also said he's not going to let him get anything easy when he was asked the question. So we'll see. First game was Saturday, Dragons, Panthers, gone Panthers.
Yep, Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, shortest odds of the weekend here. The Panthers $1.22. They're not the only ones at $1.22. And the Dragons at $2. Sorry, Dragons at $4 at 25 there. Nothing much to play for. They're not going to get a wooden spoon. They're not going to really go anywhere. But the Panthers, again, nothing much to pay for either. They're going to finish 7th or 8th. Doesn't make much difference, does it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, they're trying desperately to make sure they don't play the Warriors in the first round. And Bjorn said he thought he needed 3 tries to get it 2 to equal. That could be it.
You could be right, Bjorn. You could be right, mate.
On the prop, numbers confuse me. So next game on Saturday, Titans versus Tigers. I've gone Tigers.
Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious pick is Tigers $1.78, but the Tigers got nothing to play for. The Titans here, if they win this and the Knights lose, they get themselves off bottom of the table. So $2.05. Yes, they're on a bad run of form, 0 wins and 5 losses. When's the last time the Titans won? Let's make a quick look. The Titans beating the
us.
Beating you guys beating the Warriors back in 21, round 21. Before that, it was round 14 against Manly. So 2 wins. Round 15. So 2 wins in what's that? Like 10 games. But look, a win now would save their season potentially. I'm looking at the Titans on this one. I know I rarely give my opinion, but I reckon an upset because the Tigers got nothing on the line.
And the millions watching have just seen why you don't give your opinion because of that one. Last game on Saturday, Doggies versus Sharks. I've gone Bulldogs. They got everyone back. Bulldogs. Yeah, they got everyone back. They're going to wipe the floor with the Sharks.
Yeah, $1.60 for the Bulldogs at home. The Sharks $2.35. Yes, they can make. I mean, both the Bulldogs not going to play for, but it is a last game at home in the regular season in front of their own fans. You'd think they're going to want to finish it off nicely, especially after such a good season for them.
Well, Serrato wants to help out his old buddy Webby and try to get Webby into the top 4. So that's what they got to play for. Then the first game on Sunday, Dolphins Raiders. I've actually gone Dolphins. Raiders are resting everyone. Dolphins are at home. I think Dolphins will get it. Dolphins still logistically have a chance of making the 8, so they will be fighting.
So, Brad, they're bringing out stating the bloody obvious. Look, the TAB have got the Dolphins at $1.26, the Raiders at $3.90. Look, the Dolphins at home favourites here in this one because of that, as you say. They've got something to play for. The Raiders don't. They're taking time off. Now, the second string Raiders, they've got a good opportunity here to actually state a case of saying, hey, look, play me in the finals. So it is a short window for some of those players who would not get it otherwise. So I expect them to try, but obviously perhaps a bit too not as cohesive as the first team.
Yeah, and then the last game of the regular season, Eels versus Knights. I've gone Eels.
Yeah, Eels.
You've gone for the bloody obvious. The Eels, the shortest odds of the weekend, go to someone in place 12th in the table at $1.22. They're the same odds as the Panthers. against the Dragons. Up against the Knights, $4.25. The obviously the longest odds of the weekend. As I say, that Titans get that win. They've got a good chance of climbing above the Knights and put the Knights into last place.
We'll see. I'll love it if you're right, and you can make fun of me next week if it happens.
I'll have forgotten by the end of the show that I've even said this.
It feels like a fairly straight one. I'm very confident I could get a perfect round here. I hope I don't, because I hope the Warriors get the win.
I'm sorry, you're living in La La Land. There's a Broncos Storm. That's a massive game. If the Broncos win this, they get the top 4. There's lots on the line there.
Nah.
The Roost.
You're dreaming.
I know. I'm just the potential upset there. Look, do the Panthers care if they beat the Dragons? Who knows? On that one, you've got that Titans game, which I've talked about already. The Bulldogs, Sharks. Again, the Bulldogs, it doesn't matter to them if they win or lose. The Sharks, it does matter. There's potential for upsets all over the place here. I don't think this is an obvious round from that point of view. It comes down to who is on the beach and who's not at the end of the day for this one.
If I get anything less than a 6, I'll be surprised.
It's 8 games. Of course,
Look, hey, I've been hitting 4 and 5s. I've been hitting 4 and 5s all year.
You're picking.
Yeah. And Bjorn said Panthers' third team can beat the Dragons. Hell, I could beat the Dragons, Bjorn. Dragons are rubbish. They shouldn't even be in the comp. But yeah, I haven't abused the Dragons a lot this year, so have to at some point. I've given them too many props. Anything else you want to add, Richie, before we let everyone go?
No, I'm happy, mate.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on Stand Up with Brad and Richie for your weekly update on rugby league. Tune into our show next week at 8 p.m. on Wednesday here on Facebook or YouTube. Just remember, search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Thanks for helping me out again, Richie, and cheers for your help in the background, Paul. And good night, everyone.